What's up, everybody? Welcome back again. I'm your host, Fallon J. This is episode 18. For all of our new listeners, welcome. And for all of our OG listeners, welcome back to the House of Leah podcast, where the unseen are seen. Let's get started. All right, people, we are back with episode 18. We only have 2 more episodes to go until I take a brief hiatus to work on some other projects that I'm being called to work on. So thank God for that, because baby, it's been a dry season, but I'm grateful. I've been learning a lot through this season, with things kind of being up in the air and not as they once were. Sometimes God has to do some pruning on us for us to be able to truly see the fruits of, the labor and the harvest, for us to really, see what he's doing in our lives. Someone said to me once, we have to go through a pruning in order for those fresh fruits to come up out of that tree. And thank God that he's the root that has us planted. So, though things have been very tough for me this season, I've been sick a couple of times, broke, in and out of doctor's offices, trying to figure out what's going on with my stomach, and money woes, everything. Is like, in all of those things that I've been going through, God is pretty much showing me that you need to manage your money better. You need to be a better steward. You need to be a better steward over your finances, about what you're eating, and more importantly, your time. I didn't recognize how much of a problem this time management was for me. I did, but I wasn't taking it seriously. And I think that sometimes when you're not really taking something seriously and it's impacting you in more ways than one, God will slow everything down and shut everything down until you have no other point or purpose but to stop. So, he stopped me, and I've been stopped in my tracks for a little bit now, but I pray that I'm getting the lessons this time, and that not only am I getting the lessons of being obedient, but I'm listening to what it is that he's called me to do, and not worrying about it, not being in fear about it, but just trusting that he's not going to lead me astray, and he's not going to give me something that's so hard that I don't understand it. He's going to give it to me so that I can grow in that moment, and really just trust and listen for his voice, whether it be like tough love from a parent or rewarding me for getting the message. So today, I'm going back to pop culture, not just cultural topics like last week's episode with Carmelo Anthony, the Carmelo Anthony case. It's been really polarizing, and I made a point to make it so at the top of the episode I said that I had recorded this before the verdict came in. I had recorded it through the beginning of that trial, not the ending of it. So it's really sad to see how the parents' behavior has devolved into what it's devolved into, as far as, I understand, like, I think D.L. Hughley said this. I understand that you're a parent and you have the right to feel how you feel and be angry and hurt and upset and rage. But to demean somebody's parents, and to start taking low blows by calling somebody watermelon mellow, it no longer, at one point I stood with you by saying I don't think that the situation that happened was about race, because that wasn't, but it has evolved into a racial issue because of the history of America. And for you to call this young man, who unfortunately he did kill your child, a watermelon mellow because you're angry, that does not exhibit behaviors of someone who would identify as Christian. Human, yes, but it's not right. So in one breath cursing somebody, and then the next breath praising God, they contradict each other. And I'm pretty sure the word speaks about that. So I'm not trying to judge you to his dad, but I am trying to let you know that you can't serve 2 masters. So sometimes I think the best thing for all of us to do is shut up when we don't have anything positive to say, or we don't have anything good to add to a situation. And you don't have to say anything positive, because you're right to feel how you feel. You don't have to say anything positive, but you also don't have to say anything disparaging to innocent people because of the pain that you're experiencing. So God bless you, and I'm praying for you while you go through your healing process. So just to recap, just a reminder for everybody, we are on all DSPs. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We have all original episodes on YouTube, ranging from episode 1 up until today's episode, which is episode 18. And go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. And we're also on Amazon Music and wherever you find your podcast. So today we're going to switch gears. Also, before I do that, shout out to all the people who were listening to me in India, of all places. I guess that they're starting to receive the gospel there, for the few people there who want to know about Jesus Christ. Praise God. Thank God for that. I'm not well versed in the word at all. I'm literally in my Bible. My Bible's in front of me. And sometimes I just pull it up here online in front of me and just start pulling out chapters and ideas based off of what I'm talking about today. Sometimes it's something that I come up with. Other times it's something that God puts on me. All right. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I watch a lot of TV. I think I may have mentioned this at some point in time, but I watch a lot of TV, really into pop culture and everything. What happened, I think, at the end of March, because it's June now, right, is a big betrayal in reality TV happened between the cast of this show called Summer House, which is on Bravo. Everybody's talking about Summer House and what happened in Summer House. And I think the bigger issue, what happened in Summer House, let me give you a brief overview. There's a bunch of people in the house together. There's a couple couples there are a couple people who are coupled up. There was a couple who was particularly married, and there was a young woman by the name of Ciara who came in, and then she ended up having this little love affair with this guy named Wes, who Wes was very immature, and he really didn't show up for Ciara the way that she wanted him to. He's really what looks to me like lusting after her, and enjoyed their friendship. So she also was friends. Ciara was also friends with this girl named Paige and Amanda, and then she brought her friends Mia in, and Maya was there. I forgot about Maya. Shouts out to Maya. I like her. She's a great baker and chef. Shout out to Maya. But these people were on this show together, and they were all friends. And this previous season, Amanda was having trouble with her husband. Amanda was married to this guy named Kyle. They're still married. They're currently separated, though. And Ciara played a big part in that separation by encouraging Amanda to step away from a very toxic relationship. Now, in the Christian faith, that's not necessarily something that we would do. However, to each their own. So lost my train of thought. So Ciara ends up becoming really close with Amanda, speaking affirmations into her, being very positive, trying to uplift her, because Amanda suffers with like anxiety or depression, what everybody's going through right now. And Kyle's kind of verbally abusive when he is upset, which can be a strain on anybody. So long story short, Amanda and Ciara's ex-boyfriend, West, end up canoodling. They started becoming closer and closer and closer until they start this love affair, and now they are proclaiming they love each other. Now remember, Ciara was with West. West is Ciara's ex-boyfriend. Amanda and Ciara they called themselves best friends. Who knows? Were best friends. And now Amanda is seeing Ciara's ex-boyfriend. And Amanda was there all through all of the ups and downs and the betrayals that West had. And for the betrayals that West exhibited towards Ciara. And now to see your best friend dating your ex, who you had this torrid up and down relationship with. He's hot and cold with you. You're hot and cold with him. Now your best friend is dating him, and while she's separated from her husband, and now they're proclaiming they're loving each other will come across as the ultimate betrayal. And I started to think about this because I'm a Christian, and I'm like, how as a Christian do we get over bitterness and how do we get over betrayal without becoming bitter? How do we get over betrayal of a friend without becoming bitter? And that's so difficult to do. Like, could you imagine having such a close friend at one point in time, and then knowing that they're going to betray you? Like, maybe not even knowing that they're going to betray you, but then having to have the wherewithal to move out of that unforgiveness and then try to navigate this new feeling. Because I think a lot of the time we talk about forgiveness and what forgiveness looks like. Like, we'll say, I forgive, but I'm not going to forget. I understand the ideology, but does it really work? Because you may have forgiven the action, but you are living in the bitterness of what was. So you're technically allowing what you choose not to forget to grow into bitterness inside of you. So then you're no longer in a position where you can have grace or mercy on this person, because the lack of forgetting what they did is ruling over you and resting in your soul as bitterness. Because even it's so weird, because it takes a lot of energy to harbor anger and be mad at somebody versus being set free and forgiving them. But even if you like, oh, I forgive them, but I'll never forget the fact that they did this to me in 1975, and I'm going to make sure that they know every single time I see them that I can't stand them and I hate them. So then you're not over it. Then you're living in bitterness. You don't forgive them. You're trying to circle back to that pinpoint the area in which they betrayed you, so that you feel like, okay, let me remember why I don't like you. Because there's certain situations where you might have been in a situation with your family member or your friend, and you genuinely love them, but because they betrayed you, you can't move forward. Now, I'm not saying that Amanda and Ciara have to go back to being buddy, because that's hurtful. But she can forgive and she can forget. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, listen, Jesus forgave 2 of his friends. Actually, he forgave all of his friends. When Jesus said that all of his friends would deny him, they all said, no, he wouldn't, Jesus, you're Jesus. But they all abandoned him. Every single last one of Jesus's disciples, wasn't it 12? They all were supposed to be his boys. Could you imagine being about to go to jail? And this happens to a lot of us. And every single one of your friends and family members falls away because of something that happened. You may be guilty, you may be innocent, but they all fall away. In your time of need, they turn their back on you. How do you forgive that? You can't do it on your own. You need God, obviously. But to have to rest in that space and knowing that the people that you thought were going to be by your side left you, that's kind of hard to overcome as humans. But we have to remember that God is at the forefront of everything. So we might get abandoned and betrayed by everybody, and it will hurt. But thank God for his mercy. Thank God for showing us and paving the way to show us how to forgive and how to move forward. You can love them still, but to be able to be set free by letting it go is the ultimate goal. So the reason why I say this is because right before the Passover, like Jesus had a Passover with his disciples, and he had told all of them that they were going to betray him during the during the Passover, and they were all like, not I, God, not I. In the evening, it says in the evening in Mark chapter 14, verse 17, it says, in the evening when he came with the 12, as they sat and ate, truly I say to you, one of you who was eating with me will betray me. And they all began to be sorrowful and to say to him, one by one, is it I? And another, is it I? And he answered them, it is the one of the 12, one who was dipping bread in the dish with me. The Son of Man indeed goes as it is written concerning him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had never been born. So we already know he's talking about Judas. So Jesus forgave Judas, but he killed himself. So we already know what the deal is. But I think the bigger story is what follows the Last Supper is that Peter's denial was foretold. And this is in Mark chapter 14, verse 27. It says, Jesus said to all of them, all of you will fall away on account of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go before you to Galilee. Peter said to him, even if all fall away, I will not. Jesus said to him, truly I say to you that this day, during the night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. But Peter swore, if I must die with you, I will not deny you. And everybody said the same thing. So we learned that when Jesus was betrayed by his boy Judas, that he was sentenced to die, right? We know that what happened when he was sentenced to die. I'm trying to find the rooster crowing. Okay. And we knew Judas was his boy, and he knew his boy was going to betray him, but he gave him a chance in that moment. He gave him a chance in that moment to break free, to say, he gives you a chance. He'll give you a chance to change the tide if you allow him to. But if you keep continuously doing it your way, then let it be. I think that with people in our situations as human beings, because we're not Christ, finding the wherewithal to forgive a friend who's betrayed you or hurt your feelings, it takes a lot of strength and energy. But I think prayer and taking it to God and asking for help is probably the first step in doing so. It's like, how do I get over this, Lord? Help me, because I want to. I think that's the first thing, is to acknowledge that you're living in bitterness and pain, and you want to move out of that, because that can become Lord of your life, your emotions, versus giving it to God and saying, I surrender this, the pain, the hurt, the sorrow, the fears, the mistrust. Because the enemy wants those things to just build up on you like calluses, to keep you from feeling like you can trust somebody else, to keep you from feeling like you can love somebody else. That's why so many people have their guard up when it comes to dating, and they might be transactional and operate solely in sex versus understanding that they can be vulnerable with somebody again once God allows them to. And the reality of the situation is people make bad decisions sometimes. A lot of us are very selfish. It's just, what do we do once we go through that pain of experiencing somebody's selfishness ultimately to our disadvantage? How does that impact us? So let me finish reading. So obviously we know that Peter said that he wasn't going to deny Jesus, and Jesus was like, oh, yes, you are, but you got it. So I'm going to tell you what happened when Peter denied his boy Jesus. So while Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came. When she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, You are also with Jesus of Nazareth. But he denied it, saying, I neither know nor understand what you're saying. Dang. Then he went out to the porch, and a rooster crowed. A servant girl saw him again and began to say to those who stood by, this man is one of them. But again he denied it. A little while later, those who stood by said again to Peter, surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean. Yeah, Galilean. And your speech confirms it. Peter began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, I do not know this man of whom you speak. And the rooster crowed a second time, and Peter called to mind the word that Jesus said to him, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. And when he thought on this, he wept. Peter knew that he messed up. I would say the other thing, but I can't. But Peter knew that he did exactly what Jesus said he would do. How many of us are guilty of doing that? Being like, no, Lord, I'm with you. I'm on it. I'm with you. I'm not going back. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And then when that chance comes, we flip the switch. No, I never knew him. And remember what Jesus said, if you deny me in front of people, I will deny you in front of my heavenly Father. And though that's a little off topic from friendship, I did feel the need to say that. So I think the beautiful thing is that even though Peter instantly regretted that he betrayed his friend. He regretted the fact that he knew that Jesus was Lord, proclaimed it, said to him, you are the Christ. And then that few months later, weeks later, who knows, he denied his friend who was about to be put on trial for death, to save Peter's life, to give Peter a chance to live again. But here's the dope part about Jesus and trying to be like Jesus, so that when Jesus comes back, so you know what happened with Jesus, right? So he died, he died, he slept in a tomb for 3 days. He came back with the holes in his feet and hands, and he was like, what's up? I told y'all I was going to destroy the temple. I'm the temple. I told y'all what I was going to do, my ninjas, and here I am again. All right, so in John chapter 21, verse 15 through 17, Jesus restores Peter, right? Let's see. I read it from the top. Jesus restores Peter. So when they had eaten breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than these? And he said to them, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said, feed my lambs. He said to him again a second time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, tend my sheep. He said to him a third time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. And Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. Jesus forgave his friend. He not only forgave his friend for denying him, but he gave him a purpose in denying him. I want you to take what you learned from me and go out and feed my flock. He asked him, how much do you love me? He forgave him. And he wiped the slate clean. Even after he denied him, he told him, you're going to deny me. But Peter, knowing and being grieved by what he had done, in a way is like repentance. Like, I love you, Jesus. I love you. And he declares it 3 times, just like Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Peter denied Jesus 3 times and was still given a chance to be born again, to get another opportunity. Where Peter probably thought, God will never give me another chance. I've declared him to Christ and then denied him in front of everybody. How wonderful is Jesus that we get second chances to do the work that he's called us to do. So I just had a quick word today because I'm kind of hungry. I'm not going to hold you. And I really wanted to talk about friendships. I've made bad decisions with friendships. I've sought forgiveness in friendships. And I pray that I'm forgiven. And I pray that people aren't harboring bitterness towards me for what I did to them years ago. And if they are, God bless them. I pray that they are able to forgive and move from that. But I will say that in terms of Ciara and Amanda, I do pray that Ciara is able to forgive Amanda and Wes and move on. If somebody betrays you, don't harbor any bitterness in your heart towards them. Don't harbor any hate and pain and constantly remember what they did to you. Because it only affects you, your outcome, your spirit, your joy, your love. If God could forgive Peter and still give him an assignment for his kingdom, how much more can he do for you? He's given you a spirit of power and love and sound mind. I hope I'm saying that right. You don't have to let bitterness that somebody betrayed you to be your God and your Lord and your shepherd, because Jesus already is. He's already all of those things for you. Yes, somebody betrayed you. Yes, somebody hurt you. Yes, it was wrong. Yes, you feel guarded. You feel vulnerable, but don't let those things change the person that God has created you to be. You are light. You are joy. You are peace. You are God's daughter. You are more than bitterness and anger. You are forgiven. You are forgiving people and forgetting what they did and moving from it and forward. Now, if you feel so called to be friends with those people again, that's between you, God, and them. But if you're not, that's okay too. But my prayer is that we start to move in a way that doesn't allow these things to take precedent over the spirit that God has given us. So that's my piece for today, y'all. I hope this reached a lot of people's souls. And yeah, don't let nobody steal your joy. That's basically what I'm saying. Love them anyway. Forgive them. Love them. Pray that God empties the bitterness out of your heart before it grows bigger and starts to rule you. And you'll be okay. Your joy comes from God. And that's all that matters. So, if you have anything to say, you want to share anything, go ahead and send us a voicemail to the houseofleah.com. And there you can leave us a voicemail. And you also have the link in the description below for you to be able to check out too if you're listening to us on YouTube. And yeah, this has been another episode of the House of Leah podcast. Thank you for listening. Peace and God bless.